Hello guys, welcome back to the channel. Today I'm here with
DarkArmedDuelist.
and today he's going to be showing us
my cubic deck. I'm really excited to show you guys this deck because it's a really awesome OTK deck that has one of the coolest boss monsters in the entire game, Crimson Nova, which is just an OTK crazy monster that's just really big.
Alright, so with that being said, let's go ahead and jump on into it.
Alright, so let's go ahead and get into it. So first off, we're going to be playing 3 copies of Crimson Nova. Crimson Nova is a really awesome boss monster that's super easy to summon to your side of the field. By just revealing any 3 cubic cards in your hand besides itself, you can just instantly special summon this crazy powerful monster to your side of the field. It also, if it destroys a monster of battle, can attack a second time, and during your end phase, it does 3,000 points of burn damage to both you and your opponent, so it makes it super easy to OTK the opponent. The really cool thing about this card is when you combo it with Cubic Wave, because if you combo it with Cubic Wave, it'll actually go to 6,000 attack points, and then it can attack twice, and it does 3k burn damage.
Oh, wow.
And it's also unaffected by every monster that has 3,000 or less original attack points, which is just really crazy. Like I said, this whole deck revolves around getting this card out on your side of the field, and it's really easy to search with cards like Cubic Karma, Banishing from Graveyard, to be able to search it.
Yeah.
We then play 3 copies of Duza. Duza's really good in the deck as well. It's basically Walking Foolish Burial. You're always sending 1 of 2 cards to the graveyard off of Duza. You're either sending Cubic Karma to give yourself a search, or you're sending a copy of Unification to the graveyard. These are always your 2 that you want to send to the graveyard off the effect of Duza, because your Unification, when a cubic leaves the field, is going to be able to banish to special summon another Duza to your side of the field, and your copy of Cubic Karma has all that text, and you never use any of it except for banishing it to search a cubic. That's all. That's all it pretty much does.
That's hilarious.
Yeah, it has all that text and you never use it. Like, it does like 800 bonus attack points when you use it on the field by sending V-Joms to the graveyard, but you never use it. We then play 3 copies of V-Jom. Speaking of V-Jom, this card is just extremely defensive, and it's a really good card to just throw in face down defense if you can't summon out your copy of your Crimson Nova, or if you get pushed to go first. This is a very going second build, but this card makes it easy to go first or second, because you can basically just throw this card into face down defense. It can't be destroyed by battle, which is really cool, and it's a very like slept on effect.
Yeah.
That not a lot of people go, like a lot of people go into the battle phase and they see a monster set and they're like, oh, okay, I'm just gonna make Boral Sword and I'm gonna swing through it, or I'm gonna make my big boss monster and swing through it. Well, then they hit a V-Jom. And you basically, with this card, what it does is when it's involved in a battle, you can move it into your back row, kind of like a Crystal Beast monster, as a continuous spell. And then you put a cubic counter on an opponent's monster. When an opponent's monster has a cubic counter on it, it can't attack and its effects are negated. And during your main phase, you can actually move this card back into the monster zone, which is really cool. So basically, if they attack into it and they've only got 1 monster, you move it into the back row. And then during your next turn, you just move it back forward into defense position, and they're not going to attack into it again. I guarantee it.
Yeah.
We then play a single copy of Buster Gunneal and a single copy of Endora Doom. These are just here for names. I don't ever really summon them. They're very rare to get on the field. You can summon them sometimes, but they're not really notable to get on the field. I just play them for the name to reveal for Crimson Nova.
Yeah.
They're kind of bricks, but you kind of need them as well to be able to reveal them in your hand for different names for your copy of your Crimson Nova.
Yeah.
I then also play a single copy of the Cubic King. Cubic King is something you do actually summon to the field every so often. It's very easy to summon to your side of the field because you special summon it from your hand by sending any cubic monster you control to the graveyard, and then it does 800 points of burn damage. It is a 0/0, but when it touches the field, it goes up to 800 attack points, but it's still pretty good to play in the deck just to do that 800 points of burn damage and have an additional name that's actually kind of useful.
That's pretty good.
We then play 3 copies of Summoner Monk. Summoner Monk is really good in the deck because it helps you get to your copy of Duza, and we play a lot of spells in the deck. I mean, like a lot of spells.
I have not seen Summoner Monk in a deck profile in
I know.
forever.
It's been a minute, but this card is really good because as soon as it's normal summon, it switches itself to defense position, and you can discard any spell from your hand to be able to special summon a level 4 from your deck, and the card you're always summoning is Duza, because you basically are playing 3 extra copies of Duza with this card, and if you have something like Cubic Karma in the hand, you can discard Cubic Karma to give you a search, and then use this to be able to bring out Duza to the field, which would be a Foolish Burial. And Cubic Karma is not once per turn, so you can actually get a double search by having Cubic Karma in this, which is really neat. Yeah, it gives you a double search. And then if you have any other 2 cubic cards in your hand or Crimson Nova, you can just search 2 pieces from the deck, and you've already got your setup for Crimson Nova.
Oh,
which
that's
is really
awesome.
good. Yeah, and then you can make a rank 4 as well, because this is a level 4 and then Duza's level 4. So you can make a rank 4 play, which is really cool. Like, I really like that. And the cool thing about it too is what I usually do with this particular combo is to put Duza and Monk on the field. You can actually link them both away for this, which lets your copy of Crimson Nova do piercing damage.
Oh yeah.
At 6k.
I remember running that card in Dinos.
Oh yeah, with Ultimate Conductor.
Yeah.
Oh yeah. Oh yeah.
To be able to attack and just keep attacking for game.
Yeah, you just attack all their opponent's monsters. But Duza, Crimson Nova is kind of like that, essentially. It's kind of like an Ultimate Conductor Tyranno where it can attack like multiple times.
Yeah.
And it just is big. So that's it for the monsters, guys. Let's get into the spells. So for the spells, we're going to be playing a couple of generic spells. We're going to be playing a single copy of Feather Duster. Feather Duster is really good because basically you're just going to deal with your opponent's back row. Called by the Grave, you just don't want to get hand trapped. It's not that big of a deal if we do get hand trapped in this deck because you're just looking for 3 names anyways.
Yeah.
And it's pretty easy to draw into multiple names, but you play it just because it's one of the best cards in the game. We play a single copy of Reasoning. Reasoning is really, really good in this deck because you only play a couple of monsters that can be special summoned. I believe it's 9 total that cannot be or can be special summoned anyway. And that's your copy of Summoner Monk. You can special summon that off of Reasoning. You can also special summon out your copy of Vjom, and you can also special summon out your copy of your Duza. But the whole point of the copy of Reasoning is to be able to use Reasoning to send from deck to graveyard cards like Unification and your copies of your Karma. Because if you can get those in the graveyard, you can get the maximum effects off of them. I then play 2 copies of Dorma. Dorma's alright in the deck. I feel like it's a good draw effect because it has the ability that you can send a cubic card from your hand to the graveyard, and then you get to draw a card, which sending cards like, again, Karma is just really good in the deck. We then play 3 copies of Karma. Karma is ridiculous. This is not once per turn. If it's in the graveyard, you can banish it and add any cubic card you want, or any cubic monster you want from your deck to your hand. Like, that's really good. And you're always sending it to the graveyard off of Duza, so you can search out your Crimson Nova, which is just really good. And it's just a fantastic card. I know, all that text, banish, add a cubic monster. That's all it does. That's all that matters about this card.
Insane.
Yeah. We then play 3 copies of Cubic Wave. Cubic Wave is the reason I play this deck besides Crimson Nova. This card is insanely powerful. It has the ability to target 1 cubic monster that you control and a monster that your opponent controls. You double the attack of your cubic, you half the attack of your opponent's monster. That's the only real effect that I ever use on this card. It has some cubic counter effects on it, but we usually don't use that all that much unless we're going into turn 2 or 3, and I guarantee you this deck is usually not going into turn 2 or 3, so we're usually just OTK. So we don't really use those effects as much. We just use it to double Crimson Nova's attack points and then just go in for game to attack twice and then end the turn and be like, hey, bye-bye, 3k damage.
That's awesome.
We then play 3 copies of Foolish Burial Goods. Foolish Burial Goods is in here to send Unification and Karma from deck to graveyard. That's really important to be able to get those cards into the graveyard to help you get those cards so you can start getting searches and using the effects of your copies of Unification to be able to bring out additional cubics.
Yeah, for sure.
We then play 3 copies of Pot of Extravagance. We don't touch the extra deck all that much, so this card is really good. You can change it out for Prosperity. I just don't like Prosperity in this deck because it makes your opponent take half damage, which makes it a little bit more difficult to OTK.
Yeah.
Which is why I chose to play Extravagance over the copies of Prosperity in this deck. I really like this card, but something else you could play Desires in here as well if you wanted to play Desires, because this card does kind of go against your copy of Dorma because it doesn't let you draw for the rest of the turn.
So if you were to run Desires, what would you run for the 3rd card?
Maybe like Regeki or something.
I got you.
Something like that. I wouldn't run anything crazy. It'd probably just be Regeki because I'm also playing 3 Lightning Storm. And the Lightning Storms just deal with everything else.
Oh, for sure.
Yeah, Lightning Storm just deals with your opponent's monsters, and if you can cubic wave, like if you draw into this, plus like 3 cubic monsters, and I know it's a perfect hand, but if you draw into this, cubic wave, and then Crimson Nova plus 2 other names, you pretty much win if your opponent has attack position monsters. You just throw this, and then once you throw this, you get rid of all their monsters, summon Crimson Nova, double the attack points after you... Well, yeah, you could still kind of pull it off a little bit, but I think Regeki might be good in this deck over this card. I just don't know yet. I've just been really liking this card because it's really easy to help you summon out your cards like safely, and I really like that a lot. So that's it for the spells, guys. Let's get into the traps. We do actually play a couple traps in this OTK deck. So first off, we're playing a single copy of Casualty. Casualty is just a really good 1-of in the deck, which is why I play it. Also, it's another name that you can reveal for Crimson Nova. Play a single copy of Ascension. Ascension's really good because it helps you basically just swarm the field with all sorts of Vjoms. through multiple different effects, and it's just really good overall in the deck. And then we play 3 copies of Unification. Unification is really crazy because it lets you fusion summon as a trap card into a copy of your Crimson Nova Trinity, which you never summon. This card never comes out. It's just here. It's just cool to play in the extra deck. If you're playing Cubics, you might as well play it because you don't touch the extra deck anyway.
Yeah.
But this card's really good because if one of your Cubics leaves the field, is destroyed by battle, or leaves the field by any reason, then you can manage to discard from the graveyard and then special summon 1 level 4 lower Cubic monster from your deck, which usually you're always summoning out your copy of Duza with this effect. You'll then get a Foolish Burial. Duza goes off if it's normal or special summoned, which is why I played this at 3. This is one of the best cards in the entire deck, and has some of the coolest artwork in the entire game for a fusion card, too.
Oh, yeah.
I love the eye in the middle of it. That's just cool.
So do I.
So that's it for the main deck. Let's get into the extra deck. So since we're playing Extravagance, we're going to go through the extra deck pretty quickly because we don't go into it all that often. Play a single copy of the Crimson Nova Trinity. We don't summon it. If you do summon it, something's either gone really right for you or really wrong. I don't know.
Yeah.
But it's really big and it's really good if you get it on the field. Usually if you summon it, it's over. But it's still pretty neat. We then play 3 copies of Gustav Max because your copy of your Crimson Nova is a level 10. So you can avoid the 3k burn damage to you if your life points are really low by summoning out this. If you have 2 copies of Crimson Nova on the field to be able to do 2k burn damage to the opponent to kind of close out games. I play 2 copies of Juggernaut Lieb. Lieb is really good because it helps you OTK, and it's just a good card overall. I then play a single copy of Baguska just in case I put 2 level 4s on the field with like Monk and Duza. 1 copy of number 60. Number 60 is really good because you either get to draw 2, discard 1, Monster Reborn, a monster your side of the field, or double the attack of a monster. So it's a really good card in the deck. I play then a single copy of Assembled Nightingale because we do play V-Joms, and it's really easy to get multiple V-Joms on the field so that we can make Downern and then make Zeus. Just in case, again, not really worried about summoning it. It's kind of just there as an option.
Yeah.
If I do get rid of it with Extravagance, it's kind of like one of those, well, oh well, I can still make Crimson Nova, so we're fine. I then played 2 copies of Pentastag. This is one of the most important cards in the extra deck, and I did consider playing this card as a 3-of, but unless a monster points to do piercing damage, which is really good with your copy of your Crimson Nova. You play a single copy of Underclock Taker. Underclock Taker is really good because it can drop the attack of an opponent's monster and increase the attack of one of our monsters, which can be really good if you target like a Duza on our side of the field and increase its attack points, and then decrease an opponent's monster's attack points and help us OTK with our copy of Crimson Nova.
Yeah.
I then finally play a single copy of Relinquished Anima. I don't feel like you need Link Rebo. I don't feel like you need Link Rebo over Relinquished Anima. Anima is really good because you can make it with your copy of V-Jom. And then if your opponent does not pay attention to where they're placing their monsters, you can take it and then OTK it. So that's really funny. I like it. Again, it's kind of just toolbox for the extra deck. I think the most important cards, if you're going to play anything in the extra deck, is going to be these 2. You're going to need to play the Pentastag, and I really, really feel like the Gustav Max. I feel like these are the cards that I go into the most in the whole deck, because the Gustav Max just is going to protect you from taking the 3k burn damage, and the Pentastag is just fantastic at letting you do piercing damage.
Oh, yeah.
And closes out games.
Yeah, for sure.
So that's pretty much it for the profile. It's a really fun deck to play, and it's not expensive. Like, you can pick up Cubics for like less than $20 for the whole core, which is really cool. I really love the deck because I've been playing it, as you guys can probably see, since release. Like this deck is like, this is original prints from the movie pack because I bought a box of the movie pack and pulled everything that I needed, which was really neat back when it was originally released. But there's been like 3 printings of Cubics with like a gold rare, a secret rare, and then the ultra rare. And I think the ultra rares are the cheapest, which is still pretty cool. But it's really a fun deck to play to OTK your opponent with Crimson Nova, because Crimson Nova is just a beast. So that's it for me, guys.
Alright, so that being said, that's going to be the end of the video. Be sure to leave a like, comment down below what you guys think of this deck profile. Be sure to check the descriptions for the Twitter links, as well as the link to DarkArmedDuelist channel. Do you have any shout-outs before we end the video?
Yeah, I do. Shout-outs to Buds for letting us hang out here. I really appreciate it. Thank you so much. And shout-out to my channel, DarkArmedDuelist.
Alright, so with that being said, see ya!
See you later, guys.